All right.
All right.
Guys,
A
John,
win.
OG, not just a
Finally.
win, not just a win. That was a statement. That was a we are back
Yeah.
game,
Back in
John.
black and orange.
Eh.
Yeah. John, come on. Look, this was a close for anybody who missed the game. The Bengals won 32 to 13, I think, right, John? And basically, it was an ugly game.
Yeah.
The passing game wasn't working for the Bengals. Even the running game, John, until the
No.
fourth quarter, they weren't getting a lot of yards.
No.
Right?
No, they weren't. A lot of
The O
negative
line,
plays.
the O line, the Bengals O line looked especially egregious.
In the first half, it was really
Yeah.
bad. I mean, Joe Burrow, John just told me before he started, had like 9 pressures, 5 QB hits.
Looked like they were really going to hurt the guy.
Yeah, it was a bad matchup. And then what happened? Well, I'll tell
But we
you.
knew that was going to happen. We knew that was a bad
knew that
matchup.
was-
They had two guys
did.
who were coming off the edge, and they gave Jonah and Reeves some issues. So
Yeah.
that was something that limited the offense, and I think that's something that
did.
needs to be taken into account.
And let's be honest, it threw Joe Burrow's accuracy off on his deep
Oh, yeah.
passes. He couldn't get as much into them,
No.
and he was missing Jamar Chase. I think like 3-4 times he missed him for some big gains, or he was just a little bit off, not like Andy Dalton off, but a little bit. And then what happened, John? I'll tell you what
Or
happened.
what happened to Hoji?
They won.
They won, but look. First of all, McPherson. Let us talk about Evan McPherson. When we would get stuck, we're on the 30, 40-yard line. We're like, we give it to McPherson. He kept us in the game.
Keep us in the
Yeah, he gave us that lead that allowed us to kind of play, a steady-headed,
Yeah.
kind of calm, right? Because we were ahead for most of the game.
Right.
But then we had Jamar Chase. He comes up with that huge touchdown, and then the defense steps up. Eli Apple steps up. Interception.
You wrote an article about Eli Apple.
I did.
You wrote
I
a very
did.
strange article saying that,
No one believed except you, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
even me. I was like, what does
Judging
this
by those
even mean?
comments,
Right. Yeah, it was a lot of hatred. But Eli Apple, I was not saying he's a pro bowler. I wasn't saying he's all pro. I think the guy deserves some respect. He's doing he's
He
made
deserves
progress
an
this
A
year.
for Apple.
Yeah. And this game, really, Apple, he sealed the deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, John, we held the number 2 passing offense in the league to what, like 150 yards until garbage time, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we won a game where we had 150 yards passing, where our whole offense is, the passing game. I like that we played ugly. We came through. Trey Hendrickson gets injured. He comes back, has a clutch sack, right? Forced fumble. Who else? You had all these little injuries. Tyler Boyd was our main receiver. He gets injured. He gets hurt a little bit, shaken up. But we just kept fighting. John.
This was a team that didn't give up. This is a team that honestly is well coached. I mean, you're going to have to face the facts, Dadio. This is a team that's well coached, because a team that was doing that poorly in the first half comes back, makes its adjustments, and then starts to really recover in the second half. That's called coaching. A team
definitely better coach than Vegas for sure.
I was just
Of
gonna
course,
say.
they have a skeleton. They
Yeah.
have a skeleton crew at head coach
Okay.
right now. So
Fine.
Well,
But you
I
see
mean,
the difference. You see the difference. The calls were all for the Bengals.
it
The
is
calls
weird.
were all for the Bengals. It was the penalties keeping the Bengals in the game at first, and that's called good coaching.
Well, that is the Raiders. The Raiders, John. It seems like every Raiders game I've watched over the past 20 years, they like setting new records for penalties. There's something about the Raiders and penalties. It's part of
Well,
their
it doesn't
bad-
change, man.
bad boy.
They go to new cities. It's the same penalties and it's the same crappy field, honestly. And I don't know how much that impacted, what the Bengals offense could do. I know that Joe Mixon probably would have gotten like 50 more yards if he didn't trip a handful of times on that field. But man, let's look at the context here. This was 364 days since Joe Burrow tore his ACL on another bad field in Washington. He's going up again against the pass rush that is going to get into his face. It affected him clearly in the first half. It affected the Bengals offensive line. It made them inferior in the first half, and it severely limited the offense. It was going to be an ugly game. And it was an ugly game because the Raiders offense, well, it has also been struggling of late. you just mentioned the number 2 passing offense in the league. That has not been the case in the last 2 weeks. Derek Carr has struggled mightily, and he struggled again in this game when he didn't have Darren Waller wide open down the middle of the field a handful of times in this game. It was ugly because both defenses were playing pretty well, but that's kind of what you have to do sometimes. Like the games end up mattering, like the records matter, like this win is huge. But there's also the aspect of, okay, there's a lot of things that the Bengals need to work on. It's just that when these ugly games happen, sometimes they haven't been able to win, specifically after bye weeks. This time is different, though. They end up winning ugly on the road against a team that's also in the playoff race. Got to give them credit.
Got to give them credit. Give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Give credit to Zach Taylor.
Well, he said them. He's talking about the players.
Listen.
But I mean,
listen.
Okay.
We have a winning record right now. We are playoff contenders. We have a QB, honestly, who's not 100%. You can tell when he scrambles that he's not 100% yet.
Yeah.
You've got an O-line that's, leaky, and it won't give him time. And we're still winning games. The defense isn't great against the run. Still winning games. Winning games. What's the X factor? X factor is coaching. X factor is the attitude of these players that go in every week and want to win and believe they can win.
Yeah.
What else does the coach do?
I agree.
Hold on, wait a minute. Is Joe Burrow not 100% or is he just really roughed up this game? I feel like those things can be mutually exclusive.
But John,
he doesn't look very mobile.
John, on that scramble where he got his knee kind of all twisted up, it wasn't fluid. It wasn't comfortable. He gets up the way
Dadio gets up. Have you ever seen Dadio try to get up?
I mean, he was hit a lot in this game, and that scramble came after that.
That's true.
It's fair to say that he just got hit a lot, and that kind of it affects you. Like he's 24. Yeah. He's not a kid out there.
Right. But also look, he had knee surgery 6 months ago. I mean,
it's like almost
11
ago.
Yeah.
The last knee surgery, the very last stage of it. Okay, let's say 11 months ago. That's still there's still. I mean, these things take time.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But before this game, like we saw Burrow a lot more athletic. Like we can just say that he was hit a lot in this game, which is the truth.
His arm looks great.
Yeah.
I feel like. Go ahead.
I feel like we are talking about a lot of negative things, whereas what I saw was a Joe Burrow and a Jamar Chase not having their best games and getting it done when it mattered.
Right.
And the rest of the team finding a way to get it done. A defense that has been torched for 2 weeks was torched before the bye week. And, they, in terms of overall yards, they were solid. And in terms of clutch plays, they were huge in terms of turnovers and sacks when we need them. And so they had all the elements of a winning team. This was like watching the New England Patriots with Tom Brady or something, right, John? I mean, it was like one of those games where it's like, oh, well, we pulled it out because we are winners. Because
it's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you win. It just matters that you win, and that's the new attitude of the Bengals. That's what I love. I don't want close games.
And honestly, this year, if you just grind out wins like the Patriots of the old, I think that's all it'll take. I don't. Again, this week doesn't change anything of how anyone should view the AFC. It's just a bunch of frauds. Like, if you're 6-4 at this point, you're fine.
The whole NFL
seems
like anybody's game. The NFL just seems like it's anybody's game now, and that's kind of cool. Anybody can beat anybody.
I would feel very confident that we would make the playoffs. And I still do, obviously. But I would be 100% sure if the Ravens lost today, basically. But the fact that they won without Lamar Jackson, it's a little concerning. It's not over. I'm not worried about the Browns. I'm not worried about the Steelers. The Ravens, they still have some life. I think we're about equally as good.
Right. Ravens are a really good organization, a good team. Yeah. That's always going to be the case. It's not about Lamar.
But even still, the Ravens are only a game ahead of the Bengals, and the Bengals right now have a tiebreaker over them, so that could change at any moment.
Right. But the other part of this is, I'm a Joe Burrow fan. You're a Joe Burrow fan. We're all Joe Burrow fans. You guys notice that anytime something goes wrong, anytime Joe Burrow is having like an 8 out of 10 game instead of a 10 out of 10 game, everybody says, oh, the Joe Burrow thing is a fluke. What is up with that?
Well, look, here's the thing.
Everybody wants
he's a young quarterback. Because he's a young quarterback, he doesn't have the years under his belt to have, people's faith, to have that trust in him. And he hasn't put up the elite numbers yet. So like people look at his interceptions this year and they think, oh, what if he's just the interception-prone quarterback? They don't know his identity yet, but they're wrong. What they don't realize is he's a winner. He wants to put up the video game of stats. And so, like I wrote in that article that you accused me of trying to manipulate the system
Right.
and make money.
Not an
But-
accusation. I would say more of a statement
Yeah.
of fact. We all know that you
Right.
are a manipulator of
Yes.
facts.
Okay. But what I was trying to say is a man like Joe Burrow, when he's testing the waters, when he's getting those interceptions, it's because he's setting himself up to get that 40, 45, 50 touchdown
Right.
season. And so
Right.
anybody who knows, understands quarterbacks and players and their mentalities will
Yeah.
see that a Joe Burrow throwing 10 interceptions is not the same as, I don't know, like a Baker Mayfield or a Mac Jones or one of these kind
Right.
of guys. Joe Burrow
Well, and they-
he's
yeah.
aiming for the sky.
Yeah, they know that. They know that. All of these guys, especially from the other teams who trash Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow were to even look at their team, and they would love to have him. It's called Joe
Yeah.
Burrow envy. It's a symptom. It's a psychological state of affairs. It's called Joe Burrow envy, and they have it.
Yes.
The
They have
standard
Joe
for
Burrow.
Burrow is also very high based off of
It
what he
is.
did before he got to Cincinnati, and then
And
he
he's
showed
lived up
signs
to
of
my
promise
expectations.
last year.
And John, has he lived up to your expectations? He's lived up to mine.
100%.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not always going to look. It's not going to look pretty always in the box score and stuff like that. But I think
No.
he's definitely shown you enough where
He
he's
wins
legit.
games. He's a winner.
These
He's a winner. He
Ugly
doesn't care
games
how
can
he
happen.
wins.
Ugly games can happen. I don't think this game should have been as ugly as it was. We knew that the Raiders pass rush was going to bring them problems. I think they should have done a better
Yeah.
job against that secondary. And I guess the pass rush was really just a lot better than we gave him credit for.
I mean, they
It was
were
a very good
comparing
pass.
Joe Burrow to Romo, but I think the Joe Montana comparison is much more apt. He is a
I mean-
player who elevates his team to the winning
He's a
status.
hybrid. He's really, he is a hybrid though, because like Romo, he's going to kind of make those crazy playmaking things. He's going to create. He's going to take some risks. All that kind of a stuff.
I
But-
think real quick. We
Yeah.
kind of glossed over this real quick. Joe Mixon was stuffed behind the line at least 7 times this game, maybe even more.
Yeah,
To still finish with 2 touchdowns and 123 yards on like
Yeah.
20 something carries is phenomenal. This guy
is,
yeah.
grew up next to the Raiders stadium, and in
Right.
3 games against the Raiders in Oakland, I should say, in 3 games he has like 330 yards and 5 touchdowns. The guy comes to
Yeah.
play against this team.
I
Yeah.
think Mixon is great.
right.
Oh, this is funny. What am I watching? The morning cartoons? Yeah. Thanks,
Well,
man.
yeah. I mean, some people just get up later.
Yeah,
They wake up late, and it's fine.
but it's
They
morning
maybe have a
somewhere.
condition.
Maybe it's
yeah.
from Japan.
Maybe. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
From Japan.
Yeah.
And we actually don't have a lot
Arigato.
of patrons from Japan. So if you are from Japan, you can pay us actually in.
One of my wives was from Japan. She was a sumo.
That's
wrestler.
right.
She was a
That
sumo
is
wrestler.
right.
People don't know
Yeah.
that.
I wonder if he or she knows her, maybe,
Are
or
you
if it is
referring
her.
to my wife as he or she? Or
Okay, but yeah. So
my wife was a
anybody
she.
here, you can go to patreon.com/DHS Sports to support the show. But we're not going to end it here
No.
because we have 28 people watching. So we have to
Welcome.
think of something to say. Yes.
Well, no, we don't have to think of anything to say. We
Yeah.
have to say this.
Right.
What game is coming up? It's a biggie. It's
is
a
a biggie.
big.
It is the Steelers. Yeah.
It is.
We're going to have a great guest for you, by the way, next week. Surprise. We can't tell you.
But who wins
this
that
person-
game? Who wins that game, Dadio? The Bengals do. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're scared of us now. The Steelers are scared of us now.
Right. Right.
What is your WrestleMania moment?
Yeah.
What is your WrestleMania? I mean,
So-
Koji kind of looks like a wrestler.
Well, you mentioned wrestling in Japan,
Yeah.
and so our Japanese demographic was chiming in there.
Stronger
But-
than we thought.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
look,
carry
guys.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, you were mentioning Joe Mixon, John,
love the joke.
and let us be honest. This team is going to get places, is going to have to win despite the offensive line. Whatever we say, the offensive line has some good games. But if we're going to face, and we probably are in the playoffs, we're going to face some elite pass rushers. We know that just ruins our game plan. Elite pass rushers, we're facing a Raiders team in disarray, falling apart.
Okay, but
And-
we were
but
facing
no,
a Raiders team famous for its pass rush.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only thing they had going for them was the pass rush, and it was enough to keep them in the game, at least for the first
It
half.
was, but
So I'm saying is if we faced a good team with a strong
Yes.
front four,
name the team.
it doesn't matter.
No, I want to know
John,
what team you're talking about.
Well, I mean, look.
It's not even about defense at that point. Like the Bengals were able to quote unquote establish and stay with the run because the Raiders offensively couldn't capitalize on the times that the Bengals didn't finish drives or they had to resort to just taking field goals. They were able to keep up with that game plan because the Raiders didn't produce offensively. If they run into other teams where they have to score points, like say the Browns get them on the ropes again, they play the Chiefs later on, they play the Chargers in a couple weeks. If they run into explosive offenses that are much better than what the Raiders did today, I don't know if you can consistently rely on Joe Mixon if you're not getting that consistency out of the run game that they didn't have today. If you get stuffed multiple times and your defense doesn't perform like it did against the Raiders because the Raiders offense was just not very good for most of the game, I think that changes things.
I think this is a team that has the potential to beat each of the NFL teams. I can't think of one we don't have the potential for.
Yeah.
The Browns.
It's funny because
the Browns was a fluke.
Well,
was
no,
a fluke. And I tell you why it was a fluke.
No, they had the personnel on the offense with offensive line and the run blocking because we're bad at stopping the run.
Yeah, but they also got very lucky. They also got very lucky because we had some turnovers that messed up our flow.
Well,
the mojo was flowing in the wrong direction. Mojo was flowing out. We wanted it to.
But I would say this. I remember 2 weeks ago, people were like, well, "How are the Bengals going to make the playoffs now? Look at the upcoming schedule." And everybody was saying the Raiders is a definite loss. We have no chance. Right. Do you remember that, John? Everybody said, "How are we going to beat the Raiders?"
Forget that. What about the Packers? Do you remember how great this team looked against the Pack?
Yeah.
This team.
I'm not worried. Yeah, I'm not worried about all these big name teams, even the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not completely back. They're not back. They are not completely back. They're a good team, but they're not back.
Listen, the team we got to worry about is the Bucs. That's it.
The Bucs are in the NBA. The who?
The Buccaneers.
Oh, Buccaneers. Got you.
Super Bowl.
Okay, right. That's true.
That's going to be it. Bengals, Bucs, Super Bowl. That's going to be the team we worry about.
Okay. Well, I think with that, John, any final comments?
Yeah, like, did you guys see your uncle out there in the stands? I don't know if he was related to you, but
there's the Raiders puppet. Yes, I saw him.
Yeah,
I saw him. Very sophisticated puppet.
Very, very, very North Village.
Which means that we probably have a chance of entering the stadium now, which is very good.
Did you guys see?
Well, anything goes in Vegas. I don't know if anything goes in Paul Brown.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Captain?
They probably have some puppet tax they'll tack on to my ticket and then let me in. Yeah. Did we see what?
You guys saw Captain Bengal is always on the on the TV.
Bengal Jim was
show. Yeah. Bengal show.
Oh,
Jim.
hold on a second.
Of the show.
Guys. Wow. This is crazy. Okay. I'm so glad I didn't end the show 30 seconds ago. This would have been the difference between Hoji having lunch tomorrow and not.
Right. So am I going to have lunch tomorrow?
Are you going to have lunch tomorrow? Yeah, I think so. We can get you does Taco Bell have anything
Soul
vegan?
Was transferred into a guitar effect pedal. Actually, Burrow is a wah-wah pedal. I'll tell you why. Because the wah-wah pedal, it goes in and out. And it gives a wah-wah kind of bluesy twang to the song.
Right.
And Burrow, he goes in and out. And his passes have a twang.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Nick Marks. And I will check on the patreon.com site and fix that for you and all of our
Hold
other
on, wait
patrons.
a minute. This is a great opportunity to show the listeners and the viewers how negligent our accountant in the upper right-hand corner or left-hand corner of the screen is. The Patreon has not even been updated because there's still a Dunlap tier. Me and Hoji are not getting any of this money because he's not even checking the Patreon.
Yeah. This man really, honestly, this man is grossly negligent. And I have no idea how this show continues to run.
Well,
a $10 tier for McPherson, is he worthy of that?
Yeah.
He just saved us. He just won us one game on his own. Yeah. It has been updated. See,
He
Oh,
only
I just double checked it.
he only missed that extra point, and that was a disappointment. But I think he does that every once in a while, so we still know he's human.
I think he's kind of like Nick Van Exel, John, where I think he needs to
You
kick
see?
the extra points like 20 yards behind. Nick Van Exel used to shoot his free throws from the 3-point line because the free throw was too close. I think that's the same thing with McPherson.
Yeah,
He needs
the
to
challenge.
kick his extra points. Yeah, he needs to kick his
Dude,
extra
you
points.
flexing the UC basketball knowledge. I like it.
Yeah. All right.
We call
hold
it a
on.
day. $10 to someone else. $9.99 is incredible value.
It is.
This guy is
Great
trying
value.
to be friends with Dadio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is all that we have. And I don't know what that means. Super chats sounds expensive.
But
and
who's a yeah.
But that is all we have.
Yeah.
No. And then we will see you on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, when we have our Steelers preview. Make sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I promise you, it will be a fun show. But for the great John Sheeran and Dr. Hoji, Dr. Smoji, I'm Daddy McDuke. We will see you next time.
Sweetie.
So long, sweetie.
Bye.
Peace.